Every man thinks he knows which positions women love, but most are completely wrong. In fact, two of the most popular moves online are the ones women secretly dislike. I'm Dr. Magda Kay, your trusted men's health advisor. What I'm about to show you comes from large peer reviewed studies and clinical work with thousands of women. We're unpacking the top 5 positions women tend to prefer globally and a couple they commonly dislike. And I'll explain the physiology so you can adapt in the moment without guesswork. By the end, you'll know not just what to try, but why it works and how to adjust angles, pacing, and touch so the experience fits her body, not a script. Before we start, one simple truth will help everything click. For many women, pleasure depends on 2 pillars: comfortable, consistent blood flow to the tissue, and reliable external stimulation. At the same time, as internal movement. Large peer reviewed studies show only a minority of women reach climax from internal movement alone. Most either need or prefer additional external touch, and a huge number report that simultaneous internal and external stimulation makes everything easier and more intense. That's why positions that allow easy contact at the front of the pelvis while keeping a comfortable angle inside tend to be winners for many couples. Let's count down the 5 positions women most often appreciate, drawn from surveys and clinical work, and then we'll talk about 2 common looks. Good on paper item positions many women actually dislike in practice. Coming in at 5th place is sidelining, what most people call spooning. This is the quiet, low effort position that's far better than it looks on a list. Sideline gives you face to neck access for kissing, makes it easy to place a hand at the front for external touch, and reduces the need for deep hip flexion or knee strain. Because the pelvises are parallel, the internal angle is usually gentle and gliding rather than abrupt. That means more room for slow pressure changes and a lot less risk of the kind of bumping that can take someone out of the moment. Here's what makes this work. Place a small pillow or folded towel between the knees to line up the hips. Keep movement short and rhythmic so the base of your pelvis can stay in contact with the front of her body for consistent external contact. This is also one of the best positions to pair with rocking rather than big in out movement. Many women report that a steady base that presses forward against the front of the pelvis feels better than repetitive long strokes. The 4th position women consistently rate highly is seated edge or laps. Seated face to face. One partner sits on a sturdy surface. Think the edge of a bed or a firm chair while the other straddles facing them. The posture is upright. Eye contact is easy. The chest-to-chest contact helps relaxation and both partners have hands free. The seated pelvis often stays still, while the receiving partner controls angle and depth. And because the torsos are closed, it's easy to add external touch or a discrete device without breaking the moment. This position also favors slower rocking that keeps pressure at the front of the pelvis rather than constant withdrawal. Many women prefer that steady contact because it maintains sensation where they actually feel it most. The key here is to think roll and press rather than pull and push. Keep the base of your pelvis in full contact so pressure at the front remains continuous. Coming in 3rd is face to face, lying with the penetrating partner above, what most people would call a classic gentle face to face position. Critics sometimes call this basic, but when done well, it's anything but. It's the easiest position for kissing, breathing together, and reading facial cues, all of which help the nervous system settle. And the relaxed body feels more. It also allows very precise control of angle. A small pillow under the receiving partner's hips tilts the pelvis so the internal surface lines up with the front of the body. And you can keep your pelvis pressed forward rather than moving away constantly. That steady forward pressure matters because it's easier to pair internal movement with external contact at the front. This combination, gentle angle plus simultaneous front of pelvis stimulation, is one of the most reliable routes to intense pleasure for many women. What really makes the difference here is shortening your range of motion and adding a subtle forward press at the bottom of each movement so sensation never drops out. If you want more intensity without more depth, angle her pelvis with a folded towel rather than increasing force. The second most appreciated position is woman on top face to face. Control is the headline here. She sets the angle, depth, rhythm, and speed and can change them midstream without losing connection. That's crucial because women routinely describe adjusting their hips to find the best internal contact point and the best way to maintain sensation at the front of the pelvis. In large samples, most women report consciously changing angle and rocking during penetration to make it feel better. This position makes those micro adjustments effortless. Effortless. It also keeps hands free for external touch and allows a slight forward lean, so the base of the pelvis stays in consistent contact with the front of the body. What works best here is thinking circles and rocking, rather than big up and down strokes. If her knees get tired, she can switch to a supported squat or bring one knee forward onto the mattress to change the muscle demand without changing the sensation pattern. And the position that ranks highest across multiple studies is rear entry on hands and knees or with chest supported but with a twist. This position has mixed reviews and surveys because, done thoughtlessly, it can feel too deep, too fast, and too impersonal. But when you adapt the angle and add intentional front of pelvis stimulation, it becomes a favorite for many couples. The key is alignment. If she narrows her knees slightly and tilts her hips a little forward, the internal surface being contacted changes. Adding a hand at the front or a discrete device restores the external sensation. Many women need to enjoy this position fully. Slower rolling movement rather than hard pistoning also makes a world of difference. In broader polling, rear entry often ranks very high overall, but the couples who love it most describe exactly these adjustments: angle, speed, and pairing with front of pelvis contact. What transforms this position is thinking glide, not jab. Place a pillow under her hips to fine-tune angle and keep a steady hand at the front to maintain sensation where she feels it most. Now, let's talk kindly and honestly about two positions many women dislike and why this is not about rules. There are always exceptions, but understanding the why will help you read the moment and pivot gracefully. The first common dislike is the fully standing shower scene you see in films. It looks dramatic, but the real-life physics are terrible. Slippery footing reduces control. Water removes natural lubrication. The angle is rarely ideal for internal comfort, and it's almost impossible to maintain consistent external contact. If you love the idea of the setting, move out of direct water and use a stable surface for support or switch to a seated version that restores angle and balance. The moment is still cinematic. Now it's actually comfortable. The second is the hyperacrobatic knees, by the ears variation that demands extreme flexibility. For some women, that stretch can feel exposing or even painful in the hips and lower back, and the angle inside can become too direct too fast. If you want that openness without strain, tuck a pillow under her tailbone to reduce hip flexion. Keep movement shorter and add a hand at the front. You keep the look and the closeness while bringing sensation back to where it feels best. At this point, you might be thinking, so is this all just about one area at the front of the pelvis? Not exactly, but acknowledging it changes everything. Multiple high-quality studies show a simple pattern. A sizable group of women do climax from internal movement alone, but most either need or prefer simultaneous front of pelvis stimulation. Then many describe combined stimulation as fuller, longer, and easier to reach. That gives you an elegant rule of thumb. Choose and adjust positions that make front of pelvis contact simple and reliable. Then think about depth, speed, and angle. And if you do it in the reverse order, chasing depth and speed while sensation drops out at the front, you'll watch the moment disappear. Let me give you a few practical ways to keep sensation steady, no matter which position you choose. Breathe together for the first 30 seconds. It sounds small, but synchronized breathing calms the nervous system and helps muscles relax so sensation can actually register. Relaxed bodies feel more. So warts the range of motion and lengthen the exhale. Many women describe losing sensation when movement becomes big and repetitive. Smaller, more deliberate movement keeps pressure at the front continuous. When in doubt, rock and press. Don't yank and retreat. Large population data even has names for these micro adjustments: angling and rocking, and most women report using them to make penetration feel better. Use support pillows under hips or between knees are not a concession. They're precision tools that change angle inside without adding force outside. Small changes in tilt can have outsized effects on comfort and intensity because they realign which internal surface is being contacted and how the base of the pelvis meets the front. Keep one hand at the front, Whether it's your hand, her hand, or a quiet device, consistent front of pelvis contact is the most common difference between almost there and there. That's not an opinion. Large nationally representative samples show that women who receive external touch during intercourse report significantly higher climax rates than those who do not. Mind the tempo. Many couples find that a slower, steadier tempo at first with the base of your pelvis staying in contact creates consistent pressure at the front. Once she's clearly responding, you can layer in depth or speed. But if you add those before she has consistent sensation at the front, you're building on sand. Finally, a word about preferences and communication. Surveys that tally favorite positions are useful, but they hide an important detail. What women love most is the position that lets them tune the angle and keep steady front of pelvis contact without strain. In other words, positions are just frameworks. What matters is the custom fit you create inside them. The most satisfying nights are rarely about inventing a new pose. They're about reading small signals and adjusting the pose you're in. Hips a little higher, movement a little shorter, hand a little steadier. Let me give you a simple blueprint you can use tonight. If you want closeness, feedback, and an easy path to consistent external contact, start face to face and keep movements short. Keep a hand at the front and press your pelvis forward rather than away. If she wants more control, invite a switch to woman on top and let her set the angle. Think curves and circles, not bouncing. If you both want a deeper internal feel, transition to rear entry, but pause and fine-tune the angle with a pillow and a hand at the front before adding intensity. If you want a quiet, connected finish, slide into sideline. The angle softens, hands stay free, and breathing together becomes effortless. The thread that ties all of this together is not a trick. It's a principle. Steady comfort at the front of the pelvis, adjustable angle inside, and movement that sustains sensation rather than resetting it every second. That's what the research shows. That's what women describe when they talk candidly about what works. And that's what turns a night from good to genuinely memorable. If you found this helpful, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and let me know which of these positions surprised you most or what adjustment are you going to try first. I read the comments. Thanks for watching and take care.